We will now revisit how to express your answers in scientific notation, which was explained in the mode key video. The first example is going to be a computation with a large number. We're going to take 36 million and multiply that by 18. So that's 36 million multiplied by 18. And we hit enter to get our result. Notice that we have our answer written in normal mode, which is 648 million. Okay? Now, before I show you how to express your answer in scientific notation, I would like to call to your attention that if we did this computation, we could also write 36 million in scientific notation and then multiply it by 18. So let's do that. Let's do the computation over, but we're going to write 36 million in scientific notation first and then multiply it by 18. So 36 million in scientific notation is going to be 3.6, and then this double E here that's in blue is the scientific notation key. So if we go second function and hit that key right there, which is the comma key, you see a little E placed here. Okay? So 3.6 times 10 to the 7th, so we enter a 7. And this right here is equivalent to 36 million. So now we multiply that by 18, and we should get the same result. And we do. Now, if you want to express this answer in scientific notation, we need to go to the mode key. So we go to the mode key, and then we move the normal mode to the scientific mode by just moving the cursor to the right. Then we have to hit enter. Then we can clear that screen by hitting clear. And then if we just hit enter, now the answer is going to be displayed in scientific notation. So 6.48 times 10 to the 8th power is equivalent to 648 million. Okay? So let's go ahead and clear the screen here to do our next computation, and then I'd like to get the mode back into normal. So I would hit the mode key, and then you can see that the cursor is flashing on normal, so I would just go ahead and hit enter, and that selects the normal mode, and then we can clear the screen. Okay, so now we're back to normal mode. Example 2 is going to be a computation with a very small number. So let's take 0.000000586 and multiply that by 0.012. So let's hit enter to get our result. And we get 7.032 times 10 to the negative 10th power. Now, recall that we were already in normal mode, and the calculator gave us an answer back in scientific notation mode. This is because the calculator could not display the answer in normal mode. There was just too many digits to go ahead and display it in normal mode. So it put it in scientific notation mode. Alright, now, what I'd also like to call to your attention is that we can enter this value in scientific notation, just as we did in example 1. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's enter this value in scientific notation. Okay, so that's going to be 5.86 times 10, and that's the second function in the double E key, times 10. And what's that going to be now? Well, if we move the decimal over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's to the negative 8th power. Okay, and if we multiply that by 0.012. Okay, we should get the same result, and we do. We get 7.032 times 10 to the negative 10th. Okay? So let's go ahead and clear the screen for example number 3. Okay, example number 3 is going to have two very large numbers in the computation. So we're going to take 1,568,000, so that's 1,568,000, and that's going to be multiplied by 12 billion. So that's 12 and then billion. Okay, and let's hit enter to get our result. And our answer is going to be 1.8816 times 10 to the 16th. Now notice again that the answer was displayed in scientific notation, even though our calculator is in normal mode. And that's because there is just too many digits to display on the screen on one line. So the calculator automatically put the answer in scientific notation mode. So the next thing we're going to do, just like we've done in the last two examples, is let's put this 1,568,000 in scientific notation and the 12 billion in scientific notation, and then do the computation. So that's going to be 1.568 times 10, so it's the second function, and then the scientific notation times 10 to the what? Well, remember, if we start here and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that should be 10 to the 6th, and then that's multiplied by 1.2 times 10. Okay, 10 to the what? Well, if we move over 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So that should be to the 10th. Alright, and then if we hit enter, we get the same result. Okay? Now, 1.8816 times 10 to the 16th. It's a pretty big number. So if we actually wrote this number out, which you can see here on the callout, this number can be read as 18 quadrillion 160 trillion. So this concludes the video on scientific notation.